She smiled, but something was missing. Your words reached her ears, but not her soul. There's a reason why some men walk into a room and instantly shift the energy without saying a word. And then there are others, loud, charming, rehearsed, who speak all the right lines but never leave a trace. See, we've been sold a lie. That if you just say the right thing at the right time in the right tone, she'll fall for you. But the truth is, women don't fall for words. They fall for weight. The weight of presence. The weight of calm. The weight of a man who knows exactly who he is, with or without her. Most men memorize lines. A grounded man lives them. Most men impress. A grounded man expresses. So let's get one thing straight. If you came here to learn how to hack women, impress them, or play games, this video isn't for you. But if you're done pretending, if you're tired of chasing, if you're ready to speak from a place of inner truth so strong no woman can ignore it, then keep listening. Because what you say does matter. But only when you've become a man who doesn't need to say anything at all. So how do you speak with presence, not performance? Let's talk about 5 sentences that aren't magic tricks. They're not pickup lines. They're mirrors. When spoken from the right man, these words don't seduce. They awaken. They don't manipulate. They anchor. And they don't make her yours. They make her remember who she is, in the presence of a man who finally remembered who he is. This is the power of calm strength. This is stoicism, not in theory, but in action. This is what happens when your words don't come from your mouth, but from your center. Let's begin. There's a moment, often early on, when a woman subconsciously asks herself, is he with me because he needs me, or because he wants me? And how you answer that, without ever saying a word, shapes everything. Now imagine this. A man sits across from her, calm, steady, present. He doesn't fidget with his phone. He's not trying to impress. He's just there, fully. And when the conversation leans toward connection, he doesn't play it cool or chase her approval. He simply says, I don't need you, but I choose you. That line hits different because it's not a strategy. It's a reflection of who he is. A man who doesn't need her approval already has something rare. Internal peace. He isn't seeking wholeness through her. He's already whole. That energy is magnetic. This isn't charm, this is calm clarity. Because women, especially in today's world, are used to being chased. They've seen men compromise their values, their focus, their purpose, just for attention. But when she meets a man who chooses her from a place of fullness, not emptiness, she feels safe, desired, but never trapped. I don't need you, but I choose you says, I'm not here to fill a void. I'm here because I see you, and I want to meet you, not complete you. That's not seduction. That's sovereignty. And in a world of boys craving love to feel alive, a man like that, he doesn't compete. He simply commands attention without asking for it. There's a moment in every conversation where the energy either stays on the surface or dares to go deeper. Most men keep it safe, jokes, hobbies, half-truths. But every woman has a vault, a room she guards, not because she's cold, but because most men don't even know it exists, let alone how to hold what's inside. Then comes the man who leans in gently and says, "Tell me something you've never told anyone," not with pressure, not as a test, but as an invitation. That one sentence opens a door that's been closed for years, because what he's really saying is, "I'm not here for the version of you the world applauds. I want the version that hides when no one's looking." He's not chasing secrets, he's offering safety. And when a woman feels safe, not judged, not rushed, something softens. The armor drops, the script dissolves. And for a few seconds, she's not performing, she's simply being. Because deep down, every woman is asking, "Can you hold what's real in me? Or are you just here for the highlight reel?" And when she finds a man who doesn't flinch at her truth, no matter how messy, she remembers him. Not because he said something clever, but because finally someone looked past her smile and saw her soul. That kind of presence doesn't impress, it imprints. Too many men show up to love like they're showing up to battle, ready to fix, solve, rescue. But a woman doesn't want a savior. She wants a sanctuary. And in a world that constantly tells her she's too much, too emotional, too complicated, too broken, the most powerful thing a man can say is, "I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to stand with you." Because that sentence flips everything. It says, "You don't have to earn my presence. You're not a project. You're not a puzzle I'm trying to solve so I can feel important." It's the difference between holding her hand and holding her down with expectations. Imagine this. She breaks down, tears falling, the words spilling in waves. And instead of rushing in to make it better, he just listens. He stays. He breathes. He holds the silence because he knows the silence is sacred. Because he knows her pain isn't something to be solved. It's something to be witnessed. That presence, that stillness, that quiet, "I see you, and I'm not going anywhere." It creates a kind of trust no quick fix ever could. She doesn't need a man with all the answers. She needs a man who won't flinch when there are none. Have you ever been with someone who tried to fix you, but never really saw you? Have you ever wished someone would just sit with your truth without trying to change it? So don't show up to repair her. Show up to respect her process. And when you do, you'll find that standing with her is exactly what makes her want to walk beside you. There's a quiet exhaustion that lives in many women. You see it in the way she adjusts her tone, edits her words, holds her breath when she walks into a room. Not because she wants to deceive, but because for too long she's learned that being too real costs her connection. So she performs, smiles on cue, praises to please, hides the sharp edges, the flaws, the fears, because the world has rewarded her for being easy to love, not real to know. Then, she meets a man who gently looks at her and says, "You don't have to impress me, just be real." And something shifts, because that sentence, it doesn't just sound kind. It feels like a permission slip. She exhales. The performance softens. The mask slips. And in that space, something rare happens. She starts to trust, because someone finally made space for all of her, without editing any part. Not just him, but herself. And here's the truth. The deepest connections aren't built on perfection. They're built on presence. on two imperfect humans showing up as they are, without shame. So when you say, just be real, and you mean it, you don't just attract her, you free her. And that freedom, that's what makes her stay long after the butterflies are gone. Some women have been called too much their entire lives, too emotional, too intense, too honest, too bold. And over time, that label becomes a warning, one she silently carries into every room, every relationship. She walks in armored, waiting for the moment a man pulls away. Because most do, not because she's broken, but because her fire asks a question most men can't answer. Can you handle all of me? Then she meets a man who doesn't flinch, doesn't silence her, doesn't try to contain the flame or run from the heat. Instead, he looks at her, steady and sure, and says, "You don't scare me." And in that moment, she hears something rare. Not just acceptance, but capacity. Because what he's really saying is, I'm not afraid of your fire, because I've made peace with mine. I don't need to control you. I don't need to fix you. I'm not here to shrink you. Most men run from intensity. A grounded man holds it without fear. He meets her storm with stillness, not submission, not dominance, just presence. And that presence doesn't overpower. It holds. It stays. Because when a woman feels like she can bring all of herself to the table without apology, what you get isn't chaos. What you get is truth. So say it, not as a challenge, but as a promise. You don't scare me. And mean it. Because you've already faced the parts of yourself that once did. And maybe you're still wondering, does this really matter? Can a few words said from the right place really change anything? But sometimes the lesson doesn't come in lines. It comes in silence. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman, smart, driven, beautiful in that quiet way. On the outside, she had it all: career, friends, attention. But inside, she was tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of dating men who only saw the surface. Tired of being told she was too much, or worse, not enough. Until one evening, at a quiet rooftop gathering, she met someone different. He didn't try to outshine her, didn't lean in with clever jokes or flirty charm. He just listened, fully, attentively. And when the conversation got real, she braced herself for the usual withdrawal. But instead, he smiled gently and said, "You don't have to impress me. Just be real." Her breath caught. No one had ever said that. Not like that. Not with that kind of calm. So she tested it. She talked about the things she usually hid, the fears, the doubts, the pressure to always be put together. And he didn't try to fix it, didn't change the subject, didn't blink. He just said, "You don't scare me." That was the moment she let go. Not because she found a perfect man, but because she finally found a space where she could be. And in that space, she didn't fall in love with a man. She fell back into herself. That night didn't end with fireworks. No dramatic kiss. No grand gestures, just presence, stillness, and a connection that didn't need to prove itself. And months later, when someone asked her what made him different, she said, "He didn't need me, but he chose me. He didn't speak to impress me. He spoke to see me." And that changed everything. So here's the truth. No one tells you. Words alone mean nothing. You could memorize every line, study every tactic, mimic every move. But if your energy is scattered, your confidence is shallow. If your presence evaporates the moment she pushes back, none of it will land. Because women don't respond to performance. They respond to truth, to stillness, to the man behind the sentence. And that man, he doesn't speak to seduce. He speaks because he's grounded. He's done the inner work. He's faced the noise in his own mind. So he doesn't panic when hers shows up. He doesn't chase approval. He doesn't shrink from emotion. He doesn't play power games because he already owns his power. He knows the paradox of connection, that the less you try to impress, the more magnetic you become. That real attraction doesn't come from control, but from calm, from holding space, not taking space. Because in the end, women don't want to be conquered. They want to be understood. And the man who understands her is the man who first learned to understand himself. If this hits something deep inside you, don't just keep scrolling. Type, "I'm done pretending" in the comments so you won't forget. So others know they're not alone. And if you want more truth, more calm strength, more stoic fire, subscribe now, because this isn't content. This is a return to who you really are. And that journey, it begins in silence, but it echoes forever. Not because you shouted, but because you finally spoke from stillness.